Hello everyone, salam sejahtera. Under Anwar Ibrahim, Malaysian politics is no longer simple. The government is pulled in two directions: survival on one side, legitimacy on the other. It is no longer government versus opposition. That story is over, because now the pressure comes from inside the system. One side is Johor and the position of Zahid Hamidi and Umno-Baru. Now this is coalition pressure. It's about survival, stability and numbers. The other side is inside the reform project itself, and it comes in the form of Rafizi Ramli. Rafizi is not just a politician inside the coalition. He represents the Reformasi identity, the expectation of change that brought many voters like you and I into this political project in the first place. But now, that reform identity that brought this Madani government to power is under a lot of strain. Di bawah Anwar Ibrahim, politik Malaysia sudah tidak lagi mudah. Kerajaan ditarik dua arah, kelangsungan kuasa dan legitimasi. Bukan lagi kerajaan lawan pembangkang. Cerita itu sudah lama berakhir. Kini tekanan datang dari dalam sistem. Satu pihak ialah Johor serta Zahid Hamidi dan Umno-Baru. Tekanan gabungan politik tentang kestabilan dan juga angka. It's all about the numbers. Satu lagi datang dari dalam projek reformasi sendiri. Rafizi Ramli mewakili tekanan legitimasi, sama ada janji perubahan benar-benar ditunaikan. Identiti reformasi kini sedang diuji. Dan ini 10 sebabnya. Here are 10 reasons why. The first one is Rafizi, an internal pressure. Rafizi is not outside opposition. He is inside the reform project itself. He is the most visible internal pressure point, but not the only one, okay? His position creates tension inside the system, not just outside criticism. And that makes him powerful, but hard to ignore inside the system. Rafizi is sensitive to 3 audiences at the same time. The first is to Anwar Ibrahim, because he is inside the same leadership system, not outside it. And then the second is to PKR leadership, because internal reform expectations can create pressure or division. The third is to reform voters, because he is the bridge between promise and delivery. Rafizi speaks to voters who expected change, and many feel disappointed with the pace of it. Rafizi Ramli menjadi tekanan dalaman yang paling jelas, namun tetap suka diabaikan. Beliau berhadapan dengan 3 pihak. Yang pertama ialah Anwar Ibrahim sebagai pemimpin dalam sistem yang sama. Yang kedua ialah kepimpinan PKR kerana tekanan reformasi boleh mencetuskan perpecahan. Dan yang ketiga ialah pengundi reformasi yang menilai jurang antara janji dan realiti. Ramai yang semakin kecewa dengan kadar perubahan yang terlalu perlahan. Now the second reason is the cost of living, the daily pressure on us. Cost of living is still the biggest pressure on ordinary people. The war in Ukraine has affected global wheat and grain supply, and this has pushed food prices up. The Middle East war affects global oil and energy prices, and that raises transport costs, including everyday goods, food, and even fertilizer. And so even small global shocks end up showing up in the price of what people buy every day. Kos sara hidup masih menjadi tekanan paling besar kepada rakyat. Perang di negara Ukraine menjejaskan bekalan gandum di seluruh dunia, lalu menaikkan harga tepung dan makanan asas. Ketegangan di Timur Tengah pula menaikkan harga minyak dan tenaga global. Kenaikan kos pengangkutan, kos baja dan kos barang harian. Akhirnya, kesannya sampai terus kepada rakyat. Contoh mudah ialah harga roti canai, makanan sarapan pagi kita. Sebab bahan makanan, tenaga dan pengangkutan semuanya saling berkait. Walaupun dasar tempatan berubah, kejutan dunia masih boleh tekan harga barang seharian kita. Now the third reason is that people want results, not promises. People, the rakyat of Malaysia, we're tired of political promises. We want clear results, not long explanations or excuses. And frustration grows when change feels slow or is non-existent. Rakyat sudah penat dengan janji politik. Rakyat mahukan hasil yang jelas, bukan penerangan panjang ataupun alasan. Kekecewaan meningkat apabila perubahan dirasakan terlalu lambat atau langsung tak berlaku pun. Now, the fourth reason is the PKR internal tension, which is now so visible. Okay, inside PKR, disagreements and tensions are now made more public. Unity looks less stable than before. And former aides, you can see, they become millionaires. How so? There are also former aides making serious allegations about the president. And then we have student leaders in PKR resigning. All these are not good optics. Ketegangan dalam PKR kini semakin terbuka sehingga menjejaskan imej perpaduan parti. Contohnya ialah dakwaan bahawa bekas pembantu kepada pemimpin menjadi jutawan. Juga dakwaan bekas pembantu penyelidik iaitu Yusof Router terhadap Presiden PKR. Serta juga perletakan jawatan dalam kalangan pemimpin pelajar PKR. Now the fifth reason is the coalition pressure which is shifting, and this is the Johor factor. In Johor, Umno-Baru is pushing to contest all 56 state seats independently. Umno-Baru frames this as a comeback strategy. It signals confidence, but it also raises questions about future cooperation between coalitions. Di Johor, Umno-Baru dilihat mahu bertanding semua 56 kerusi secara sendiri sebagai tanda kebangkitan yang turut menimbulkan persoalan tentang kestabilan kerjasama politik. Now the sixth reason is trust in institutions, which is very fragile. People do not just judge politicians alone. They also judge institutions. And there is growing public frustration over how major corruption-related issues are handled. This includes perceptions around enforcement bodies such as the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, especially in high-profile or controversial cases. It also includes long-running court cases involving senior political figures, including the corruption trials of Zahid Hamidi, which ended in a DNAA outcome, or possibly a full acquittal. We don't know yet. Now, the issue is not just legal process. It is whether enforcement feels strong, fair, and consistent in the eyes of the public. rakyat bukan sahaja menilai ahli politik tetapi juga institusi dengan rasa tidak puas hati terhadap cara isu rasuah besar ditangani dan sama ada penguatkuasaan kelihatan tegas serta dipercayai. Seumpamanya ialah kes SPRM dan skandal korporat mafia. Juga kes mahkamah Zahid Hamidi yang berakhir dengan DNAA. Isunya ialah sama ada penguatkuasaan dilihat tegas, adil dan konsisten. Now, point number 7, I think, identity issues. Issues like education quotas and religion, such as temple destruction and relocation, remain highly sensitive. And you will recall the scandalous treatment of a teenage Indian student by Anwar when she asked a very legitimate question about Bumiputra University admission quotas. Another example is the historic temple relocation issue in the middle of Kuala Lumpur. These issues escalate quickly and create strong emotional reactions. Isu seperti kota pendidikan dan agama seperti isu kuil kekal sensitif dan mudah mencetuskan reaksi emosi yang kuat dalam masyarakat. Now, point number 8. The media and perceptions do matter. Even when laws are followed, perception still shapes public opinion, and perception spreads faster than facts. For example, in the case of the former MACC chief, Azam Baki, official explanations were given about his share ownership, but public perception of the controversy continued in media and social platforms. Another example is when the blogger Murray Hunter, the Australian blogger, was arrested for his comments about Malaysian matters. A third example could be when the Malaysia Kini journalist B. Nantakumar was arrested and his home raided just for doing his job as a reporter. So, have we returned to the bad old days of Umno-Baru intimidation of journalists and critics of the government? Walaupun undang-undang dipatuhi, persepsi terhadap membentuk pandangan rakyat. Contohnya dalam kes Azam Baki, penjelasan rasmi telah diberikan tetapi persepsi awam masih berterusan di media dan media sosial. Isu ini kekal lebih lama daripada keputusan rasmi. Point number 9, I think. Political image and family perception. Now, the rise of Nurul Izzah Anwar, from the time Anwar nominated her to be his senior economics advisor in January 2023, when he was asked to be Prime Minister, to the time when we had the PKR Deputy President election in May last year, May 2025. Now, this has led to debate about political influence and optics. Some see this as normal politics. Others see it differently. Nepotism, perhaps? Now, peranan politik Nurul Izzah Anwar telah mencetuskan perbincangan tentang persepsi nepotisme dan pengaruh keluarga dalam politik. Ada yang melihatnya sebagai perkembangan politik biasa dalam parti. Ada juga yang mempersoalkan dari segi persepsi dan hubungan keluarga dengan kepimpinan tertinggi negara. Now, the final reason, 10th reason, is Rafizi and the reform expectation pressure. Rafizi represents more than just politics. He represents reform expectations. Now, whether those expectations are being met or not is now part of the political pressure. Rafizi mewakili harapan reformasi rakyat dan Sama ada harapan itu dipenuhi kini menjadi tekanan utama dalam politik. And so the final question, the real question is actually very simple. What is the biggest threat to Anwar Ibrahim? Is it external political shifts in Johor or internal pressure from his own reform movement? One pressure is the cost of living. Another pressure is coalition survival. And yet another pressure is reform expectations. And you know what? In politics, internal pressure is often the strongest. So what do you think? Please leave your comments below. Jadikan soalan sebenarnya mudah saja. Apakah ancaman terbesar kepada Anwar Ibrahim? Adakah ia tekanan luar politik ataupun perubahan di Johor ataupun dari dalam gerakan reformasi sendiri? Satu tekanan ialah kos sara hidup. Satu lagi tekanan ialah kelangsungan gabungan. Dan satu lagi tekanan ialah harapan reformasi. Dalam politik ni, tekanan dalaman sering paling kuat. Jadi kan, apa pendapat anda? Sila beri komen di bawah ya. Terima kasih and hope to see you soon. If you like my videos, please press like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please also visit my Patreon channel if you wish to sponsor me. Thank you.